Everyone. Welcome to the session, which is the CAT 2023 analysis. So this year, yesterday CAT happened, and the structure remained the same as it was in the last year, which is 66 questions overall, 24 questions in verbal, 20 questions in DILR, and 22 questions in quants. Verbal again had four RC passages, and then the remaining eight questions which were basis the verbal ability. DILR also the same pattern, four sets, five questions each, and Quant had questions from the modules as well, all the other modules as well. So that's the structure of CAT. Now straight away I'll talk about the estimated cutoffs based on the feedback that we have received from various R students and the faculties who have appeared for the test. There were few slight changes, and then I'll go to the cutoffs. So the first part is the odd sentence out, which was missing in CAT verbal ability since long time. Came back again this year. Two questions were basis odd sentence out. Few of the people probably would have misunderstood them as parajumbles. LRD, as I said, is the same pattern. Four sets, five questions each. The most surprising element was quants this year. Everyone felt, including all of us faculties, that it was quite difficult uh, compared to last year, and that automatically also means that the overall cutoffs and the quant cutoff will go down probably drastically this year. Coming to the first part, that is slot one, and this is obviously the initial estimates of the scores, basically that will get to a certain percentile. So for 80th percentile, which is traditionally the sectional cutoff and the overall cutoff for getting an IM call. Slot one, we are expecting VRC, thus the source, the raw score should be in the range of 19 to 22, DILR 11 to 12, Quant 10 to 12, and obviously overall score of 35, 37. Uh, Goes up till 85 percentile, 90 percentile, 95 percentile, and then 99 percentile. So historically, 99 percentile has been somewhere around in the midway mark, around 97, 98. But as I said, this year, since the paper was slightly tougher, so the cutoff should go down. So 99 percentile VRC should be in the range of 36, 39. That is around 12, 13 questions correct. And DILR should be around 27, 28, which is around 9, 10 questions correct. And then quant is around 25, 28 questions correct, which is the big surprise, because uh, that 25, 28 translates to around 8 or 9 questions right. uh, Overall this number is on a very higher side, which is roughly around 14, 15 right. But this year everybody normally could comfortably solve. I mean the best of the people normally could solve around 14, 15 questions right. But this year they were searching for those 15, 14 questions. Hardly probably they would have done 12, 13 max, uh, right, with 100% accuracy, or that number, the attempt number, would have also gone down drastically. Coming to slot 2, this was, I felt, slightly, but ever so slightly, easier to slot 1 and slot 3 probably. So slot 2 around 80th percentile, overall score again around 35, 38, which is around again 12, 13 questions right, considering all the three sections. Then 80th percentile is around 18, 20 in verbal, DLR 10, 11 marks, and quant around 10, 12 marks. And then 99 percentile VRC around 38, 40 marks, which is again 13 questions right. DLR 24, 27, which is around 8, 9 right. Quant again around 24, 27, which is again 8, 9 right. Then slot 3, the evening slot, the last slot, uh, 80th percentile, VARC around 18, 20, that is around 6, 7 questions right. DLR 10, 11, that is again 3 or 4 questions, that is not even one set if you see fully. Quant 10, 12 again, which is 3, 4 questions right only. And then overall is around 35, 37. This is actually the surprising part. only 3 4 questions right, probably in quant will make sure that you clear the sectional cutoff. Normally this number is slightly on a higher side, which is around 5 6 questions. 99 percentile, VRC 3740 marks roughly, DLR 2728, quant 2528, overall 7880. So combining probably all three slots together, this is our estimate for roughly for the scores and percentiles. 80th percentile, VRC again 1922 marks raw score, DILR 1112 marks, quant 1012 marks, and overall 35 37 marks. And then 99 percentile, VRC around 40 marks or slightly more than that, probably again 14 questions right. That number normally is again on a higher side, which is around uh, 15 17 right, DLR 2728 right, and then quant 25 28 right. Overall again 78 80 is our estimate. From 90s the scores have gone down to 80s. Now coming to each and every section individually, starting with verbal ability. Four passages, 4 questions, that is 16 questions. The 8 questions of verbal ability had all the varieties. So everybody thought para completion may not come this year because it came as a surprise last year, but it was still there. 2 questions basis that. 2 questions based on odd man out, which again came back, which was not the part of the cat for a long time, for the last few years. Then 2 questions on summary and 2 questions on parajumble. So that's a breakup of verbal abilities, 8 questions across all the three slots. If we compare the RCs and everything, easy RCs were, at least couple of RCs were easy in all the three slots. Obviously, this is all very relative now. Looking in the hindsight and retrospecting, in the exam you had to select them properly and attempt them. These were the RCs in all the three slots. The difficult RCs, one we felt was in the first slot was Indian Ocean Literature Review, which is geographical translations, and then modern materialism versus ancient societies. Slot 2, book review, it was there, and the historical fact basis RC. Then slot 3, cultural patrimony laws, and then rationality by Steven Pinker. So these were a couple of difficult RCs. The attempts, as I said, are in the range. This is again for 99% we are talking, of course. So good attempts in slot 1 in VRC could have been around 15 17. For slot 2 could have been around 16 18, and for slot 3 around 15 17. Coming to the second section, which is DILR, and this was again slightly tougher compared to the last year. So last year, uh, at least there was that one set you could have fully solved and could have got all five right, which was a straight thing. But this year it was not the case at all in DILR. After looking at all the four sets, you could have probably still not would have understood or got that one set right, which would have given all the 5 questions right. So that was another challenge here in DILR, that mostly none of the sets in probably all the three slots you could have done fully. So you had to pick multiple sets and try out the easy questions, and sometimes that becomes a very challenging thing. And there were a lot of possibilities in all the sets, and that would have mentally frustrated you if you're not very quick to realize the fact and move on to the other set. So these were the sets in all the three slots I've given in slot 1. So I know, as a matter of fact, the first one, that is the professors in department voting wala set, or the mean median mode set, the rental thing, the rating thing, sorry, of the restaurant workers was one of the most easiest set. If if only you would have known the concepts of mean median mode. So everything was given, workers and the ratings that they have received, and they have given their, we had the mean of the ratings, we have the mode of the ratings, we had the median of the ratings, and then we have also been given the difference between the highest and the lowest rating. So you just had to calculate and could have done that set easy. uh, I looked at that set in the last 10 minutes or so, and then I was like, should have looked at it a little earlier. I got stuck in that. I probably tried all the sets a bit. Houses on cell, which was I think the first set, two rows and block XX, block YY. That was tricky again, but you could not have anticipated if you're not solved a bit. That set particularly, I think I've done two questions. One question was very easy. The prize is figuring out. Sometimes you have to be so present in that moment, because looking at the language of the question, you also understand. Because I think the first question was, what can be the number of houses that are vacant or something. So that language of question can be, kind of told me that there are gonna be multiple possibilities, and I've made it two possibilities. I'm still not getting the answer. So that was my thought process, to leave it in between and try the other set. I'd also tried kind of this visa office, visa passport office kind of set as well. So I think I've tried around three sets in that slots. Not even one set I could do fully. So two questions from each set I could attempt. So that's the takeaway. Same goes for the feedback that we have received for slot 2 and slot 3 as well. None of the sets you could have solved fully, and get all five right. Good attempts. Slot 1 again around 9-10. That is again around two sets if you see 10 questions. But that was not the case. You have to probably do the third set and do couple of questions, or two three questions from each set. Slot 2 again around 10-11, and slot 3 again around 9-11. So that's with DILR, as far as the cat is concerned. Moving on to the last section, and the most surprising part, and probably the most difficult section in all three slots across, which is your quantitative aptitude. The most surprising part was algebra. So clearly, last year also, algebra weightage increased from 2-3 questions to 5-6 questions. This year it has increased even more. Around 8 questions are there from algebra, 7-8 questions across all three slots, and they were not easy algebra questions. So if you have not practiced, if you have not known the concepts, you could not have solved those questions. And believe me, you could not have even done all of them. Hardly two three you could have done, because they were very difficult and very lengthy, requiring lot of conceptual clarity. There was no uh, option substitution or those kinds of things that would have worked. One more surprising part that I was shocked to see in the paper, that is in the slot one, was that out of 22 questions, I had gone through 10 questions, and out of those 10 questions, I think 7 or 8 were from algebra, and I was like, "What is this paper? Is there no other topic that is in there?" And then I think from 11th or 12th question onwards, I've started seeing questions of arithmetic, and arithmetic again came 6-7 questions straight in one line, back to back, and probably those were also lengthy. They were not very straightforward. The questions of profit loss, the questions of SICI, they were lengthy as well. The questions of ratios, the mixtures, all of them were tricky. So that was a big surprise. One new also thing, not new as such, but this is a small surprise kind of a thing. That in slot one there was a question based on clocks, and normally students would not prepare for clocks for cat perspective. They will prepare it for omit perspective, and again from LR perspective. But again, because it's a calculation thing, so there's nothing wrong asking clocks. So in the years we had not seen questions on clocks in cat, but this year it also came. So overall, again, if we talk about good attempts in quant, 9-10 in slot 1, 10-12 in slot 2, and 9-11 again in slot 3. So that's our estimate. I could do, I think, around 9 or 10 questions in slot 1, and last year I could attempt around 14-15 in slot 1 again. So that's a drastic difference. But obviously, when I came out and spoke to a lot of people, and then we also kind of spoke to our students, everybody said that this was most difficult. This was a new content that we have not seen entirely, and that reiterates the fact that if it is difficult, then mostly it is difficult for everybody. So do not worry. As we discussed, the cutoffs will go down, and overall number should go down, especially for quant, as well as the overall cutoff. So kind of difficult paper compared to last few years, but These all things are sometimes necessary to understand that cat surprises you every now and then in between, and that's the way of them doing that. Secondly, one obviously a big disclaimer: these are all initial estimates based on the feedbacks and our own experiences. So whenever the actual response sheet will come out, you will probably see a slight difference in the scores after the actual analysis of the scores. And then obviously then there will be a normalization thing that will happen that might also kind of fluctuate the scores a bit. So whenever that comes, then we'll probably have another thing, one or two about that as well. Also now, what should be your thought process going after this is, now that cat is over, we are in the next day. uh, Try and prepare for the other non-cat exams. Focus on nmat, focus on snap, uh, solve the material, uh, give a lot of mock tests, fill college forms, that is equally important now that you have a bit of idea. And wait for the actual results, because things will, uh, in terms of scores, will slightly come down. So that's it from our end. Thank you so much. Hopefully you have liked this. If you have any queries, feel free to post them in the comments. Thank you so much.